We've covered with great interest the grifting project, or known as the Lincoln Project, headed by some never-Trumpers like Rick Wilson and John Weaver and Steve Schmidt, many of the other MSNBC liberals. Well, they are raking in the cash, Krystal. So they have raised $16.8 million, according to a new filing. And get this, from April to June, their largest fundraisers include Connecticut-based hedge fund manager Stephen Mandel, billionaire Democrat, Hollywood film magnate David Geffen, and this is my personal favorite, Josh Bekenstein, the co-chairman of Bain Capital, has given them $100,000. From that Stephen Colbert clip that we played earlier this week, just nuking Rick Wilson, they play this incredible montage of MSNBC liberals being like, that's why I'm giving money to the Lincoln Project, you know, the Lincoln. It's like the Lincoln Project's only job is trolling Trump. And look, Trump is a moron for even going along with this, right? You know, for tweeting back and playing into it. But also, it's just to make all of them feel better, to be like, oh, you know, like dunking on Donald Trump ads that go viral on Twitter. That job of political ads is to convince people, not to play to the things that you already believe. This is basically just like producing anti-Trump videos for yourself. It's like a great circular loop. And remember,
circular
these
loop.
people
That's
are
a polite way to put it.
Yeah, right. There's another word I have for it. Right, and these people are all getting rich. They're paying themselves all kinds of money through their subcontracting fees and everything. They're making millions of dollars with the outright complicity and advertising of MSNBC. I think it's disgusting.
There's this instinct in the Trump era, especially among resistance liberals, to be like this was the same instinct that made them love Michael Avenatti so much, to be like, we need our own Trump, like we need our own like street fighters. And someone like Rick Wilson is very good at being like the most loud, the most obnoxious, the most over the top in his critique of Trump.
He calls him like a little bitch on live TV.
Yeah,
like, you're so cool, man.
Right. And that's like the game over on MSNBC is who can say the most like outrageous adjective about Donald Trump. Like, oh, he's Watergate, he's Nixon times 100, he's Nixon times 1,000. No, he's Nixon plus Hitler times 1,000,000, right? And Rick Wilson kind of wins that contest. Like, that's his whole thing. And, but you know, I think, and this is also part of the complete ideological vacuousness of the Democratic Party in the Trump era, where they would love someone like Rick Wilson, who in very recent years, and probably still to this day, to the extent that he really believes in anything, like doesn't support anything that they claim to believe. Right. So there's nothing there. I think there's also an element of, it is true that Republicans are much better than Democrats at playing this sort of like political hardball and going further than you're really supposed to go. And so there's like an element of naughtiness to it that Democrats like as well, that they don't normally see represented on their side. And the amazing thing to me is, like, they've actually convinced people here and, you know, at the Washington Post and other places that they are really effective and they're part of what's bringing Trump down and hobbling him, et cetera, when obviously what's really going on is Trump's own failures in this moment. It's nothing more complicated than that. The resistance Dems combined with the George W. Bush Republican never-Trumpers, their whole project of impeachment and the norms and guardrails and being respected abroad, and again, that whole thing, which they've been working on and constructing elaborately for years, actually failed. So it's kind of impressive that they've still been able to spin this into a narrative that what they're doing is effective.
Yeah, and what have they done? What have they learned? Nothing. Because guess what? Mary Trump, who is the niece of Donald Trump, sold 950,000 copies of her book in a single day. She broke the Simon & Schuster record for the company for single-day book sales. So congratulations, MSNBC resistance liberals. You have now enriched a member of the Trump family, who you claim to hate, to the tune of $6 million at a standard royalty rate, okay? And they have elevated her through the national media. I think we have a clip of that. And this is what they're paying for. The analysis that you could have gotten from anybody who's known, and that you have gotten from anybody who's known Trump for over 30 years, same old crap. Let's take a listen.
He's utterly incapable of leading this country.
Wow.
And it's dangerous to allow him to do so.
based on what you see now or what you saw then?
Based on what I've seen my entire adult life.
What do you want to happen now?
This country is on a precipice, and we have a decision to make in the not too distant future about who we want to be and where we want to go as a country. It's hard for me to process just how many awful things are going on simultaneously on a daily basis. And people need to know. People need as much information as is available in order to make a decision that makes sense for our future.
And here's the thing with, I don't disagree with, I have no issue with Mary Trump, and she's probably mostly right about the things that she says in the book. I don't really know. But this is not an argument that's going to persuade one person.
No.
Like, it doesn't tell you anything really that you don't already know about them. And we can see his actions in office. You can judge him for yourself. And so there's been so much energy and money spent on these types of items that, Democrats are getting incredibly lucky, to the extent that any of us are lucky in this moment. They've been rescued by Trump's own incompetence, own inability to meet the moment, because the whole thing that they've been working on in books like this and the fixation on it and the energy around these sorts of things hasn't actually paid off whatsoever. I do think the Mary Trump book, it's like this perfect confluence of it's anti-Trump, but then it's also sort of like salacious, and people love this like psychoanalysis of people getting into their childhood and get inside their mind. So it's like this very sort of like, tabloidy type approach, but you get the all the like moral juice out of feeling like by buying this book, you're doing something real to oppose Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You're not.
That's exactly what it is. And you know what? I see the Republicans do this all the time too. Like, they'll find like one person who disagrees with a Democratic position and they'll like put them on Fox, or they'll be like, oh, look at this one guy who disagrees with a majoritarian position, right? And everyone's like, oh my God, and that person gets rich. I'm not going to name any names, but you can imagine who some of those people are. It's just kind of incredible, really. I mean, and at the end of the day, people are, I think this is a total irresponsibility on the behalf of MSNBC and a lot of these resistance Democrats for elevating, these people as the paragon of what it means to be against Trump, when you make a very different case every single day. And the same thing from the right. It's all aesthetics. That's all it actually is. And in the meantime, people are making millions and millions of dollars that absolutely do not deserve to do so and are odious members of our society. So there you go.
Well said.
Yeah.
More rising for you after this.